I'm a little under the weather today, but I'm still breathing. I got some tea with me. Trying to stretch my limbs out. I did go for a walk earlier. That don't matter though, that's not what this video is about, is it? No, not about my physical health. This is about Donald Trump and myself and how differently we're treated. Like, not sure if you noticed this, but my name was never mentioned with Epstein, ever. I never sent Epstein a birthday card, never drew a picture for Epstein. I also never sent our boys to invade a foreign country. That's neither here nor there. Donald Trump is a 34-time felon, convicted felon. How much time did he spend in prison? I am not a felon, and I have been to prison. Matter of fact, 2 different ones. But I'm not a convicted felon. Why is that? There's a lot of evidence in all of these situations with me where police officers did not tell the truth. And their cameras recorded them not telling the truth and doing some illegal things. It wasn't ever about protecting people from me. It was about people in positions of power who don't want to take responsibility. It's easier to blame the victim, isn't it? I speak out for victims. And of course, there's people that are insulted by the word victim. Well, that's the situation and that's the reality of it. You want me to call them the survivor? Okay, I can do that. Is it necessary? You know who it is I'm talking about when I say victim. When I'm telling a story and I'm talking about the victim, it's pretty easy to tell who the victim is. But that's not what we got, is it? No, we got a situation here where rich people can do whatever they want blatantly. Well, Donald Trump, in his last presidency, wanted to talk about how when police officers put their hand on one of our heads when they're putting us in the vehicle so we don't bump our head, how they don't need to do that. Donald Trump encourages physical violence. And this guy is the president of the United States. You'll listen to him. Even with everything with these pedophiles, of course, I've been speaking out about this. A lot of people have been speaking out about this. Why is it that you will vote the pedophiles into positions of power and then you will brutalize and, of course, encourage the brutalization of the victims, especially if they're broke, especially if they're alone, especially if they're disabled, especially if they're male? I've known a few people that were murdered. Most of them were murdered over women. I know a lot of guys who are serving time for defending themselves because they were homeless. I also stick up for a lot of minority groups that I'm not a part of, but there's a reason for that. If I don't stick up for their rights, why would they stick up for mine? Well, they don't stick up for mine anyway. All you got to do is say mentally ill. People look the other way. They don't care that there's a difference between post-traumatic stress disorder and schizophrenia. Doesn't matter to them in the least bit. The term mentally ill is used to discredit the victim or to discredit the survivor. Of course, surviving something ain't necessarily a good thing. Depends on the situation. Now, Donald Trump wants to break the law continually, does not care. He thinks that the police should brutalize us. He wants to enact policies that make things more expensive for us at the bottom, while he's encouraging, well, the Rodney King treatment. Not okay. Now, there's some of these minority groups that I've fought for, like, for example, the LGBT community. There's a lot of people that I know that are technically part of the LGBT community that don't see the LGBT community as helpful, and much of that, of course, is due to the media. You grab the craziest, most sensationalized person that you can, and all of a sudden, that person is representative of that community. Well, that's not okay. Now, there's a difference between an occupation and a gender, or an occupation and a skin color. Now, what we see with the police is that all these things that are done to the homeless, you don't care about until they do it to somebody that they made the mistake of assuming was homeless. And then you care. Case in point, Samuel Leon Lawrence IV and Zaid Atkinson both had to deal with Officer Waylon Lolatai, but both of them were black and in houses. The rest of Waylon Lolatai's victims were all homeless and all thrown under the bus. That's reality. When I try to explain to my friends about the abuse, every one of them's got a different excuse why they can't do nothing. Oh, Sean, you know, women have it worse. Oh, Sean, I have kids. Oh, Sean, black people have it worse. Oh, Sean, gay people have it worse. Oh, Sean, trans people have it worse. Man, really? Are you sure? Because I think we should base this on an individual basis. Yeah, based on evidence. And we should look at the evidence. Now, of course, we got 20,000 documents with Epstein, and a lot of them, oh, we got more than that, don't we? Of course we do. Am I looking at them? Nope. Just what comes out on the Daily Show. Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people. He's putting his name on everything. That's what it's about. Putting his name on everything. Slandering everybody else's name. Not taking responsibility. Did he go to prison after being convicted of 34 felonies? No. This man gets to live in a gilded White House. Oh, let's hope I ain't got fleas, right? So we got all these services that are supposed to help us, and instead they hire people that make you come back over and over and over again instead of helping you how you need. It may take a few hours of orientation to get acquainted with a person and their situation. But you can't do that because you're too busy blowing people off and telling them to come back next week and fill out more paperwork next week. And then when they come back next week and fill out more paperwork, well, let's take a look at the situation with CARE. What are they doing? Well, I go fill out that paperwork. They get money from the government from help that they're not providing. For 4 months, Shelly did nothing. Absolutely nothing. But she got paid for it. Did I get the help I needed? Of course not. How about when they send me to all of these mental health places? Oh, well, these people are supposed to help you. Those people are supposed to help you. So they put you on meds. First of all, that's not your business, but no. Second of all, they actually looked at some of this stuff that they should have turned in as mandatory reporters, but they didn't. Donald Trump wants to talk about how his cognitive stuff is all really, really, really good or whatever, right? Well, okay, good. He's got lots of money. He can pay somebody to say whatever he wants them to say. And you can see that he can bully and chastise people into doing whatever he wants. That's all right. It's all right for him to be a jerk to people. That's what happens when you let him get a big head. Kind of like Waylon Lolatai after he assaulted me. He assaulted 6 more people on camera that year, including Zaid Atkinson and Sammy Leon Lawrence IV. Also, Kelly Clark and Michelle Rodriguez, and of course myself is already included in that. I mean, this guy just really wouldn't stop. Doesn't care. People with the mentality of Donald Trump and the mentality of Waylon Lolatai, they don't care about human lives. They get off on this stuff. They enjoy hurting people. They enjoy harming people. They enjoy being mean. And then they don't like it when people are mean back. How dare they? Trump would just squash you with his wallet. He don't care. So what are we stuck with? We're stuck with a government that doesn't care about us. Wants to tell us what we owe them all the time. And of course, we're invading foreign countries and telling our allies they need to give us stuff. When it comes to Venezuela, I mean, what the hell happened there? Well, yeah, Donald Trump was outright and forthright, at least, about it just being about the oil and resources. No, wait, he wasn't, was he? He was claiming that it wasn't about going after all these brown people. It was about going after the drugs. Well, that's not what it seems like. And then, of course, importing South African white people, probably not the best of ideas. The apartheid was not that long ago, and we got enough problems with racists here in America. In Nebraska, they had harvesters that came through every year from Nebraska or from South Africa. They wore super short shorts, had sort of strange English accents. Very racist, for the most part. So, when it comes to immigration, we got plenty of people here who are being harmed. And yes, we need to take care of them first. We got situations with liberals and Republicans. I'm a registered Republican in Nebraska last time I voted. However, that's because in Nebraska, western Nebraska especially, everyone's Republican. You're not gonna you're not gonna get a Democratic candidate very likely in most situations. I do consider myself liberal, but I agree with gun laws. No, I don't. I agree with the Second Amendment and the First Amendment. I believe that the Second Amendment is for defending the First Amendment. But that's not what we get, is it? No, what we got is the very same people that we're having to fight against these people. We're having to fight against racists. We're having to fight against the Republican redneck agenda. Let's call it that. That's as nice as it can be put. It is racism, and it's not just racism towards black people. That's the thing that most of y'all aren't getting or understanding or making any effort to understand. When minorities see me, they see white. When racists see me, they see Jew. It happens. So then we got this situation with this guy, Elon Musk. I gotta say, he comes across as very autistic. I can understand that. I saw the whole Nazi salute thing that he did. Oh my God, that was not a Nazi salute. That was an awkward moment for an autistic person. In Chapel, Nebraska, I waved at a girl named Justine Martindale. Her name later became Justine Marks. She got married to somebody else. But she yelled out the window Heil Hitler at me, which I was not okay with. So the next time I saw her, I told her, that's probably not a smart thing to be saying to a Jew. Am I really Jewish? No. I've got Hebrew ancestry, though. Russian and Germans. My mom's side was Russian Germans who were Jewish, and on my dad's side, they were Germans who were Jewish. So, there you go. A little bit of my history. I'm a mutt. Anyway, the situation that we're at here with the Trump administration and poor people, I mean, I represent all of his least favorite people. I don't have one of those for him to grab. I'm poor. Obviously, I'm poor. I'm not a felon. I'm not on his side. When it comes to liberals, I gotta say this. Liberals are starting to get guns, and that's the intelligent thing to do. There are a lot of anti gun liberals out there, and don't get me wrong, I can almost sort of see where they're coming from, but I live in reality. And in reality, it doesn't matter how many guns you take away from the law abiding citizens, criminals will still get them. They may even get them from the very people that confiscated them. As you've gotten to see in the news, so we got all these different minority groups that I've been sticking up for: black folk, gay folk, trans folk, people whose groups I'm not even a part of. It's not just because I want people to recognize me as a human being as well, or that I want these people in these groups to recognize me as a human being, because I recognize those rights as my rights as well. Now, I am considered LGBT because I'm just not into sex, not interested. But I get told by my gay friends that I can't be LGBT because I'm not gay. Or I can't be LGBT because I'm not trans by my trans friends. And with most of these people, I gotta ask myself, are they really my friends? That depends on situation to situation. Many of these situations impact me directly. A lot of people assault me while calling me a homosexual. Doesn't make it true. There's people who scream the N-word at me while throwing stuff at me that if it hits me, it can kill me. That should be considered attempted murder and a hate crime. But look at my skin color. So because somebody misidentified my skin color, that makes it okay? Makes it not against the law to do those things? Doesn't make any sense to me. And then the fact that we're invading brown people's countries and stealing brown people from those countries while deporting a bunch of brown people to those countries. I can't say I haven't deported anybody. I'm not interested in deporting anybody. But when Trump went and talked about people that he wanted deported, and was even stating that that could include American citizens, Americans who were born here being deported. Well, the things that he listed off, the criminals, the sex offenders. Yeah, I am fine with Donald Trump deporting himself.